What's up, everybody? Day 26. We are coming to the finish line. Last leg of the race. Let's jump in. How to know if the next move is the right move. I think this is a fun topic. I think this is where people kind of get stuck. A lot of people get stuck with overthinking the hell out of this next play. Why? Why is it that people overthink their next step? Why is it that people overthink what this next step is going to mean for them? Well, let's unpack a lot of this. And again, guys, like this is literally what I coach people on. I coach people on helping them get to the next fucking level in life, in business. How? Not by giving them something new to think about. It's actually getting them to think about the shit that they don't want to think about. Facebook user, thank you. I forgot. Great reminder. If you guys are watching this live, drop a hashtag live inside of the comments. If you guys are catching the replay, hashtag replay. This just helps this video actually get reached to multiple people, not just 5 people, because of the algorithms on every platform. We're coming up on the last few days, so I love what you guys are loving about the videos, what's helpful. I try to interact with you guys as we do this live, but sometimes I just start flowing and shit. So don't mind me. I'm not ignoring you. Jay Lee at live. Appreciate you. Facebook user number 3. Hashtag live. I appreciate you guys. But let's talk about this, because remember, guys, like this is what I coach people through. Why do I coach people on this? So just for some context, just for some background, I was a machine gun squad leader. Strategy and mental battle planning is just something that it's come natural to me at this point. And so when we think about life, when we think about business, what actually holds people back? It's definitely not strategy. It's definitely not skill. It could be, but I'll play devil's advocate on why I don't believe it's actually skill. Um, it's definitely not how smart you are. It's definitely not where you've been to school. It's definitely not what degrees you have. It doesn't matter if you've been to seminars. It doesn't matter if you've taken courses. It doesn't matter if you've taken coaching. It doesn't matter if you've done any of that stuff. Like all of that is irrelevant. Why? If the person has a decision in front of them, if you have a decision in front of you, and you go into this perfectionism, analysis paralysis, which a lot of people do. I've done it. We've all done it. We're all guilty of it. But who stays in it for too long? That's what's going to deem you unsuccessful or successful. That's what I believe. This is why it doesn't matter your skill set. So let's say you have a skill set. Okay. Let's say you don't have a skill set. The person who doesn't have the skill set that knows that it's required for them to get to the next level will still not care that they don't have a skill set. Guys, I barely graduated high school. I'm not really that smart. Like, I'm not technically smart. I'm not book smart. I'm street smart, not book smart. But when you have somebody that's like, well, fuck, I don't have the skill set, but I have my heart, I have my hard work, and like, I'm just going to get after it. Whatever next move they make, that's all on just straight hustle. That's all on just straight determination. That's just, I'm going to do whatever it takes, even if that means I fail flat on my face. That's what I'm willing to do to win. So, is it really skill set that causes somebody to be successful or cause them to be unsuccessful? In a sense, kind of, maybe a little bit. Depends. But is the person that has less of a skill set but more of a heart to do whatever it takes to win, will that person succeed far more than the person that has a skill set but still gets in their head on making that next play? Things to think about. Not having a college degree, not having a background, not being book smart, not being none of that. If you guys are watching this, you're probably one of those people that people always judged. You're probably one of those people that you're the black sheep and nobody was going to expect for you to be the entrepreneurial type. The person that, like, is the go-getter, the person that, like, wants to win in life, you're probably that person in your family. You're probably that person in your friends group. You're probably that person that just, like, dreams big. So, that probably also means there's something about your life, whether it's educational or life experience, where you weren't meant to succeed. It wasn't designed for you. Like, really, like, if you think about it, you have done something different. You have performed at a different place, whether that's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that got you to become somebody more. And if you didn't have that thing, you would have never taken the next step. You see what I'm saying? There's something about you, and you have to recognize that. That's the biggest thing I would say. So how do we know? How do we know that the next thing that we're going to do, the next action we're going to take for our lives or our business is the right thing? How do we actually know that? And make those choices, make those decisions with confidence. I believe at some point you're going to fail enough where you're going to know what caused you to fail. You're going to assess, was that an emotional decision that I made? Is the reason why that failed was because like the thing doesn't actually work, or maybe I didn't make it work? At some point, when you allow yourself to fail enough, I think that you get to learn a different version of you, where now you know your decision making process, you know your flaws, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. And because of that, what you're doing is you're taking a very calculated and strategic measurement of, if I make this next play, if I make this decision, it's kind of like playing chess. I make this move, life, God, the universe may have a rebuttal, may have a move, may have a counter to this next move I'm going to make. And if you start looking at life as a chessboard, as a chess game, life gets a little interesting because then there's like some level of control. There's some level of predictability based on pattern recognition, based on your ability to see your entire life. You assess your entire life. You actually break down the science of how you've always made decisions in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the good results that you wanted, the bad results that just absolutely fall on your fucking face, crash, burn, all of it, those types of decisions. And you start asking yourself, well, shit, um, I think that I have this weird emotional trigger that when shit gets hard, I self sabotage. I go do some stupid shit, right? I stay up too late. I go drink. I do other things that definitely don't serve me, but I recognize my pattern. So now I know anytime I'm in a state of stress, fear, doubt, my go to is those things that sabotage the success that I seek. So, in order to change this pattern through pattern recognition, all I have to do in the moments of stress is find a different avenue to put my energy in a way that may not serve me to push me to the next level, but will prevent me from making the same wrong decisions that always left me crashing and burning. Simply by doing that, what happens? You create different results in your life. But do you see how much thought is actually required for you as you continue to make decisions in the mind and you push it forward into the future? You're able to actually assess what happens next. So, in the infantry, one of the biggest things that you can do, especially when you're running gun teams, is to start assessing the different flows of things that are happening simultaneously. And you have to be able to absorb all that data and all that information and make decisions based on all of the data you're processing in real time in a high stress environment. And all you have is the data. And the data is read through your emotions. So you have all of this data, right? You have all this data going left, right, up, down, all around. Your emotions are going to gauge how you understand that data. If you have lack of emotional control and you feel stressed out from the environment, the situation, all the moving parts, that data will be skewed. So you will probably make the wrong call in that moment. But if you have good emotional control, you'll see the same data from an outside perspective where you can actually see from a third person point of view what's happening. And you can make a call based on all of the moving parts that you see from that out of body view. That's the best thing you can do that serves you. So when we think about life, when we think about entrepreneurship, when we think about fitness, when we think about marriage, when we think about all these areas in our life, that maybe we're trying to level up and we take ourselves out of our body for a second so that way we can detach from the emotion and we can look at the patterns of our past, right? The decisions we've always made of the past. And we're able to see that detached from the experiences. Now we look forward to the future and we move that chess piece. If I do this thing and I look at what normally would happen once I initiate the sequence of events, normally if A, if 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6, then the same must be the same here. But what if I do A plus 1 plus B plus 2? I can't possibly get the same results. But what the hell does that mean? And this is where people freak out. This is where people start questioning, well, shit, that's not even math. Those aren't even numbers. Those are letters and numbers. How the fuck am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to calculate any of that? But, and I'm going to dumb this down because I didn't go to any advanced math classes. A might be a certain number. B might be a certain number, or you're going to have to figure out what the fuck they actually mean. And that's what's scary for people. Because now what you're doing is you're inviting yourself to go to open waters. You're inviting yourself to go into a place where you actually have less pieces, and that's why it's uncomfortable. You're venturing off into the unknown. It's a lot easier to go into the same position, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6, because you know that it's going to end in 6. It's very comfortable to look at life that way, to look at these decisions, especially in your business when there's a lot going on in your business, and that business affects your personal life. Now you got multiple variables at play. So it's a lot more comfortable to say, hey, I'm just going to do that because at least I know if I do that, then I get this. If I do that, if I fail, if I don't put forth the effort, if I sabotage, whatever, I know at the very least I'm going to land around 6. But 6 isn't the number that you want in life. You want 100. You want the top spot. And in order to get to the top spot, you got to figure out now what is 1 plus A plus 2 plus B. What is that? What's A? What's B? What do those numbers equate to? How am I supposed to know what that even means? Can you actually add letters and numbers together? Is there even a formula that looks like that? I don't know. Are we willing to find out though? Are we willing to say that I don't know what the fuck that meant? But I also know that for some reason, this new formula just showed up based on my decision of looking at the patterns of the past. So I can ultimately make different decisions so I can have different outcomes in my life. Am I confident enough to take that step forward and see what I'm about to get slapped in the face with? Because I know that if I'm going in 50% blind, there's a 50% chance I might fall flat on my fucking face. And what people do in those moments is they allow that to define them. They allow that fear to define their next decision. But isn't it true that when you were doing everything of the past, you still fell flat on your fucking face? So is it that we're going into this next evolution in our life 50% about to fail, potential failure, or is it 50% more likely to win that we never had before? What is your perspective? Because isn't that what this whole game is? Isn't knowing what the next move is, if it's the right move, isn't that all based on how you are perceiving the situation? If shit's not going according to plan in your battle plan, in your scheme of maneuver, isn't it just your perspective of how to adapt and overcome in those situations that will allow you, even if timelines don't meet, shit doesn't hit the fan the way that you're expecting, or you strategize in the mind with the rest of the team? If shit hits the fan in the wrong way, isn't it based on your perception so that way you can make a change and pivot in real time? That if this formula that you can't even comprehend actually will negatively affect you because it's different than whatever you've experienced in the past, isn't that an opportunity now to learn a new level of yourself to see how do you perform in a stressful environment? And if that's true, isn't that what you're asking for anyway? When you're asking for greatness in life, aren't you asking for the trials? Aren't you asking for the adversity? Aren't you asking for all the hardship that comes along with you getting exactly what you asked for, which is success, which is the hardest version of you, the version of you that can just handle it all? Isn't the version of you that can handle it all the person that's been through it all? So isn't all of this shit that's going wrong, quote unquote, just a shift in perspective that actually everything's going right because you asked for greatness, because you asked for success, you asked to be strong enough. So now, aren't you asking for those trials? Aren't you asking for the failure? Aren't you asking for the adversity? Doesn't that mean that the formula is actually to your favor, even though you don't understand half of it? So, how do we know if the next move is the right move? I believe that you just believe. I believe that if you look at the past and you can see that if the past turns into the future, and the only thing that you can change in this entire timeline is right now, this moment, your choice right now. Can't you then change where you end up in the future? Because we can choose. We can all choose to give up right now. We can all choose that this is too hard of a game to play. We can all choose that right now, but we don't. Why? Well, because we're purposed to do something greater. That's why we have a calling. That's why there's something calling to us to be the black sheep. There's something calling to us to just fall out of line of the norm. Hmm, interesting. So if we believe that every choice that we make, whether it results in the result that we want or not, isn't that the right move? Isn't the right move the best move that we can make in those moments? So why is it that when you guys are making choices and those choices don't equate to the end result that you truly want in life, you deem that as a failure? You look at yourself like a failure. You judge yourself like you're just a failure. When instead we can change the perspective instead of being 50% in the dark, 50% possible failure, that now we have 50% more chance to win. That all of those failures are designed to win. That every failure, every trial, every road bump is an opportunity for us to grow and to get stronger, to get smarter, to get wiser. Can't we all just shift that perspective and just believe that the shit that we're going through and decisions that are right in front of us that could make or break us? Because you know damn well being an entrepreneur, being the black sheep, being a leader of the household, being whatever the fuck that you are that's putting so much pressure on you, fuck, being a parent, you got to make the calls. And the best calls you can make are the best calls that you can make. And you are the only person that will deem that shit as failure. You're the only person that's going to get in your head and not make a decision because you're so afraid that it's the wrong one. But the only wrong decision is the decision of not taking an action. Because an action doesn't get you anywhere, doesn't get your family anywhere, doesn't get your business anywhere. Literally does nothing for nobody. But people are too afraid because they don't get the outcome. They don't get the result that they want right away. And because of that, then what happens? Then they validate. They validate based on those external results. Well, I didn't get the result. I said I wanted to do the thing in my very first attempt. I didn't get the result. So now I'm not validated. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not as lethal in my mind as I thought I was. I probably look stupid. I'm probably getting judged like crazy right now. Oh shit, am I not who I think I am? Damn. And it's all because I didn't get that result on my very first attempt. When you say it out loud, does it sound kind of stupid? Doesn't that really sound stupid? Doesn't it make more sense, like logically, if you're, again, to detach from the emotion, doesn't it make more sense to say something like, well, damn, I've never done this thing before. And on my first attempt, I did pretty damn good. I fell flat on my fucking face, but I think I did pretty damn good. That means the next attempt, I'm going to do even better. And I might not like absolutely dominate it on the next attempt, but damn, if I just do this a couple more times, it's going to be pretty lethal. Isn't that the right mentality? Where all you did, even with the same variables, not actually getting to 100% end state end result that you wanted, you shift perspective and now it's a win instead of a loss. Isn't that what makes you confident that it's the right move? But why is it that people just go to the negative all the time? Well, it's because you're in open water. It's because you're doing shit that you've never done before. And you don't have anybody local. You don't have friends. You don't got family. You don't have a soundboard to make you feel like this shit's normal, that your failures are normal, that the overwhelm that you're experiencing is normal. Like, you don't got that. Unless you got a tribe, unless you have a community. That's why you guys, you don't have to join mine, but there's masterminds out there. Community is a huge thing. If you guys don't have a tribe, go fucking find your tribe, straight up. Like, it's needed. I was talking to my tribe today. Had one of my clients just freaking out because she wasn't closing a deal for like 2 months or whatever. She's like, "This has never happened." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, the world is changing. Coaching's changing. How you show up online is changing. This is what they need to see." She's like, "Oh shit, like I don't know if I want to I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to show that version of me." Like, "No, I'm telling you, that is your next evolution." Cuz what I do for my people is I point it out. I'm like, That's your next step. That's the next thing." And it's the very fucking thing that they don't want to do because they don't know if it's the right move. They don't know if they can do it. But I challenge them. So she did it. And guess what? 2 high ticket clients just by her believing that the next evolution, her next step was her next step. And it was by design. Now she feels free working with awesome people who resonate with that version of her. And it's winning. But before, it was just a story. Just a negative story she was telling herself. And that's what this is, guys. All of these decisions you're making in life, in business, with your family, they're all stories. You're all just telling yourself stories of, well, if I do this thing and I fail, then I'm going to be a failure. And if I'm a failure, then there's going to be judgment. Then I'm going to look at myself different. Then I'm going to lose confidence. And like, what if I never win? That's all a story. But when you realize that you can 100% shift the tone of that fucking movie. You guys ever see what is it? Is it is it the Avengers? I might be fucking this up. Is it the Avengers that has like multi-universes? Anybody confirm or deny this? Anyway, let's talk about the multiverse because at least I'm not fucking that up. The multiverse, if you don't know what this is, they're different universes that have different realities, but kind of the same, right? So if you know Loki from like Thor, there's like a universe with Loki being the regular guy that we know. And then there's a universe in the multiverse where like Loki's a chick. Still Loki. I don't know if her name's Loki, but you get what I'm saying. So same variables, different scenarios, different situations. Um, and so when we think about that, wherever you live, whatever universe you live, that is your reality. That is your truth. So if you've never been in a normal situation, in the normal multiverse or our normal, then and you lived in the universe where Loki was a girl, that would be normal to you. And it would be abnormal to see Loki as a guy. The same thing happens with the highs and the lows. The same thing happens with the good and the bad. The same thing happens with how you perceive the situation that you're in. If you make all of the negativity, if you make all of the fear, if you overthink this whole fucking process, that becomes your reality. That becomes your story that you live. That becomes your normal. That becomes your baseline. Spider-Man in the multiverse. There you go. I don't know why I said the Avengers. I think Spider-Man was in the Avengers, whatever. My wife loves them. Um, but you see what I'm saying? It's just based on what your surroundings are. It's based on what you're normalizing. And if you normalize the bad, if you normalize the perfectionism, if you normalize the questioning and the doubts and the fear of, is this the right move? Then you will always be in doubt. You will always be in fear. You'll always be in that position where you question yourself versus looking at it like a battlefield, looking at it from a more logical state of mind, displacing yourself emotionally from the entire situation and looking at it like patterns of the past, lead to patterns of the future. And the only place that I can change this pattern, this sequence of events is right here, right now, in this moment. That's it. So is the next move the right move? It always is because you're always where you need to be. Right now, you're exactly where you need to be. And it's just your choice whether you believe it or not. It's your choice if you see that as a negative thing. It's your choice if you see it as a positive thing. It's your choice if you're just like, well, how could that be, Phil? I'm in the worst position of my life. My business is struggling, or my marriage is fucking stressed because of other shit, business, career. We just got new kids. We just got a new kid. I don't know, adopted. Stressful environment, stressful household. I got a new job. I lost my job, loss in the family, not talking to family anymore, drama, shit happened. How is this happening for me, Phil? Here's the thing I always have my clients say and think about. What is the lesson God, the universe, life has been trying to teach me that I have not yet learned? What is it? And if you spend time seeking the answer and you actually learn how to like sit with yourself, you learn to actually like think through these processes, feel through the processes. Then what happens is you like give yourself the clarity that you keep seeking outside of you because then you start looking inward. The clarity that you seek is inside of you. The question is, do you believe it? The question is, are you confident in it? Are you confident in you? Because if you're not, and you question it and you doubt it, then you're in the same position because those are the same patterns that you've always shown in the past, which means you're always going to have the same results in the future. Guys, it's just a formula, it's just a sequence. The hardest part for people is emotional mastery and emotional control. It's learning how to separate these things without like this veil, this like shadow of how they're viewing what's happening. And the moment you shake yourself awake is the moment life changes. So, how do you know if the next move is the right move? All you got to know is you. All you got to know is if you're doing the very thing that scares you the most, you're probably on target. You're probably headed in the right direction. Because if it didn't scare you, then you've already been there. Fear is a great indicator that you're going the right direction. And it's scary as fuck because you don't know how long that shit's going to last. You don't know how long the feeling is going to last. And to not know breeds a lot of courage. And that courage builds a lot of confidence. And that confidence is a confidence you've never had before. So that confidence you've never had before builds you into somebody you've never been. But if you rob yourself of that experience because you're too afraid to face what it's going to take for you to sit in open water and not freak out, knowing what's under you, what's swimming around you, how long you're going to have to tread for, none of that. If you're not good with that, you're never going to find the version of you that you're going to be proud to wake up to tomorrow. So here's the exercise. Today's exercise, you might not be able to do it tonight, today. You might not be able to do it tomorrow, but on the next possible time, when there's a decision in front of you that scares you the most, I mean, practice with the safety. Okay. If you're going to jump off a fucking cliff and that's the scariest thing, I'm not just saying jump off the fucking cliff. Assess the situation, make sure it's, people have done that shit before. I'm not talking about that. Make sure you assess the situation. Let me just put a disclaimer. I'm not talking about everything. Disclaimer. Just kidding. Fucking do what scares you. But before you do it, I want you to become aware of where your mind takes you. I want you to be aware of like what comes up for you when that scary decision is like right in front of you. Is it, oh shit, I don't want to like slip before I jump off, crack my head, and then like drown in the water? That's what I'm afraid. Is that where your head goes? Is that where your fear goes? If you're doing something in business, is it like, "Oh, shit, I've never been in front of people before like that," like running your own event or something. Where does your mind take you? Where does your fear take you? There's an insecurity there you gotta probably take a look at. It's probably the root cause. It's probably a lack of confidence. If shit's not going your way, if you're having trouble communicating in your marriage, what scares you? Is it being vulnerable? Is it because nobody's ever shown you how to be vulnerable with another person? Is that what it is? What's the root? Whatever's holding you back, the thing that scares you the most, I want you to first assess why it scares you in the first place. And then I want you to assess what happens when you just take the fucking leap and like just step into yourself and just be like, fuck it. I'm just going to send it. And then I want you to like assess yourself right after that and just see that it was just all a story that you were telling yourself and that the scary choices in life are usually the right calls. That's all I got for you guys. Appreciate all of the Facebook users. I'm sorry, I don't know how to get your names on here. But Jay Lee, adding your name to the comment, super helpful. All right, guys, you guys know what to do. Do shit that scares you. That's the only way you're gonna grow. Is the next move the right move? It always is. As long as it scares you and as long as it's not the same shit you've always done. Otherwise, you're gonna get the same shit you've always had. Peace, guys. We got 3 more days. Again, hashtag live if you're catching this live, hashtag replay if you're catching the replay. If you need help with this, hashtag me. Let's open up a conversation. I love talking about this shit. And see you guys tomorrow. Last few days. Peace.